Have you ever wondered how a small, seemingly outmatched band of rebels could possibly stand against a huge established empire?
Yeah, or how legends, like Robin Hood, how they actually get started from real-world struggles.
It's a great question, isn't it? That whole underdog dynamic.
Right, the sheer audacity. And often that's where the really surprising strategies, the interesting characters come from.
Absolutely. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we dig into complex sources and pull out the most fascinating bits of insight for you.
And today, we're diving into Stephen R. Lawhead's novel Tuck. It's the third book in his King Raven trilogy.
Our mission today, to unpack the strategies, the sacrifices, and the surprising twists of fate that can actually reshape a whole kingdom.
And this isn't just, a story. It's really a window into the Norman period in Britain and Wales. Pretty turbulent times.
Definitely. We'll be looking at political maneuvering, military innovations, unlikely heroes.
Exactly. And from that, we hope to pull out some insights on leadership, maybe the power of belief, and how tiny details can sometimes change everything in these massive conflicts.
Okay, so let's start by getting into the world Lawhead builds in Tuck. It's a Robin Hood reimagining, but what's really striking is how historically grounded it is.
He sets it very specifically in the Norman period, Britain, like 1066 to 1154, and Wales, roughly 1063 up to 1284.
It really feels authentic.
It does, and part of that comes down to his commitment to detail, like the language. He includes this really extensive Celtic pronunciation guide.
Which isn't just a footnote, right? It shows how deep he wants the immersion to be.
Precisely. It makes the world sound authentic, not just look authentic on the page. You get a better feel for the time.
Yeah, those small things add up, like knowing the sea is always hard, or that weird old vowel sound, like oh.
Or how Celtic words are usually stressed on the second to last syllable, go fan and go fan non.
It just shows that level of care, makes the story feel, I don't know, more real, lived in.
Yeah. So against this detailed backdrop, we jump right into the challenges the common people faced under the Normans.
Starting with King William Rufus, Lawhead portrays him grappling with some serious internal stuff, particularly financial.
Right, this benefice of St. Swithin, basically huge sums paid to monks to pray souls out of purgatory.
And Lawhead gives us this insight into the king's own thinking. William admits he lived a debauched life.
And that he killed quite high numbers of commoners. So for him, these prayers weren't just, optional.
He felt he needed them, something he could ill afford to neglect.
Exactly. It shows this mix of fear, superstition, maybe guilt, driving even a powerful king, not just ambition.
It really adds a layer to him.
Yeah, it humanizes him a bit. And then, in contrast, you have Bran, Tuck, and their little band, the Grellan, Welsh rebels.
And their first clash is pretty telling. In this grove, it's 6 bows against 30 knights.
And the Normans lose. It immediately shows how effective that Welsh longbow was.
Yeah.
Devastating, really.
Even the Norman commander, Guy de Gisborne, admits it. He says, swords and spears are no use against those infernal longbows.
A stark admission right off the bat.
But what's really interesting is what happens after they win. There's this debate inside the rebel camp.
Yeah, Tuck, the friar, he argues for peace, which Bran, the leader, initially just scoffs at.
But then Marion steps in. She makes this pragmatic point they're still weak. Only half of Selcrade remains, she says.
So maybe peace is the smart move right now. They decide to offer it, swear loyalty to William if they get their land, Elfile, back.
It's quite strategic, choosing diplomacy over just, more fighting, even after a victory.
But then Tuck takes this offer to Abbot Hugo. A risky mission.
And Hugo, flat rejection. Worse than that, he plans to root out King Raven completely.
So much for pragmatism meeting open arms. That basically guarantees the conflict is going to escalate.
Okay, so while that's brewing, the story shifts focus a bit over to Marion. She goes back to her family in Hereford.
Right, led by Baron Bernard Neufmarche. And there's this really compelling change in her stepmother, Lady Agnes.
Yeah, she starts out seeing the Welsh as, subhuman savages, a frail ghost of a woman.
But something shifts. She starts seeing them as unfortunates and even begins planning for the rehabilitation of the entire realm.
It's a powerful arc. Lawhead uses her to show how direct experience, maybe just proximity, can break down these really deep prejudices.
It really underscores how personal encounters can change worldviews.
Meanwhile, the Baron himself seems happier, planning this big wedding for his daughter Sybil to King Garen of Iwes.
And he's building a new stone castle as a wedding gift. It shows that blend of personal life and, hard-nosed political maneuvering among the Norman elite.
Okay, so from Hereford, we swing back to Bran. He's heading north on this incredibly daring mission.
Yeah, to free King Gruffydd of Gwynedd. He's being held captive by Earl Hugh de Ranches.
Also known as Wolf Hugh, or Hugh the Fat. Sounds charming.
Not really. And this guy was historically important. He provided William the Conqueror with a fleet, like 60 seaworthy vessels, for the invasion.
So capturing a Welsh king, that makes Hugh a major player, really dangerous opponent.
Definitely. And Bran's plan to free Gruffydd is just audacious.
Totally. Bran and Tuck disguise themselves. Spanish noblemen, a bishop of Pamplona.
And they use Alan a Dale as their interpreter. He's this former beggar, but turns out he speaks good French and English, some Welsh, and a little Latin. Quite the skill set.
It's basically a heist. They even charm Earl Hugh's hunting dogs.
Right. Stage a hunting party, grab the king, and then escape by commandeering an Iberian trading ship.
Leaving their horses behind as a, quote, fair enough trade. It's brilliant, using deception, unexpected skills.
Exploiting the enemy's assumptions, classic underdog stuff.
So after pulling off this amazing rescue, comes the letdown.
Yeah, King Gruffydd refuses to help Bran. Says he's been away from his own kingdom too long.
Which must have been crushing for Bran. But Lawhead shows it hardening him. He becomes dark, implacable.
Scarlet notes he's like talking to the blade of a spear. Keen, lethal. It shows how setbacks can forge a leader's resolve, make them even more focused.
That focus leads to a more brutal phase of the conflict, it seems.
It does. King Raven, Bran's persona, starts hitting back harder. Not just raiding Abbey supplies, but destroying them. Trying to provoke the Normans.
And there's a real human cost shown here. It gets pretty grim.
Very. A child, Nia, is trampled by a horse. Angharad, the wise woman, the Banfaith. She's killed when the Normans finally find their forest hideout, Selcrade.
Lawhead really brings home the tragedy of war, the personal losses. It's not just strategy in battles.
No, the stakes are deeply personal. Meanwhile, King William is gearing up to crush the rebellion for good.
And he's underestimating them, right? Thinking, oh, they have few horses, no knights, only a handful of archers. He expects it to be quick.
Classic mistake. Overconfidence against an unconventional enemy.
But then a twist comes from within the Norman court.
Exactly. Cardinal Flambard, William's chief justiciar. He advises the king, basically, maybe offered terms. He points out Bran actually helped William before, uncovered a plot.
And William had promised him lands then. So Flambard's being pragmatic, sees a political angle.
It shows those internal divisions, that strategic thinking isn't just on the rebel side.
And this cracks the door open for Marion. She manages to build this unlikely coalition.
Yeah, she persuades her brother, King Garen, and amazingly, Baron Newmarche himself, her stepfather.
The Baron joins Bran against King William.
He does. He'd apparently been ignoring William's summons anyway. Provides knights resources. It shows how personal ties and maybe a sense of justice can trump expected loyalties.
Which brings us to the climax, and it really centers on Friar Tuck.
Oh, absolutely. His most audacious move yet. King William is in Hereford, ready for the big invasion.
And Tuck infiltrates the town, hides in a church. William comes in, burdened by the war, needing confession.
And mistakes Tuck for a local priest, asks to be shriven.
Incredible opportunity.
Oh!
And Tuck seizes it.
Masterfully. He uses the confessional for diplomacy. He subtly brings up the cost of the war. The cost is heavy, he says.
Hits William right where it hurts the treasury.
Exactly. Then offers the simple solution. Do not kill any more soldiers. And then, the bold part, he suggests William ask for terms of peace.
Assuring him Bran would swear fealty if he got his throne back.
He basically gives the king an honorable way out of a messy, expensive conflict, leveraging moral authority and the king's own anxieties.
It's an amazing piece of psychological maneuvering.
It really is. And it works. Cut to the battlefield. The Welsh forces plus Baron Newmarche's knights are lined up. Archers positioned perfectly, sun at their backs.
Maximum advantage. And then King William rides out, not to fight, but to talk.
Clearly, Tuck's words hit home, and the peace terms are fascinating.
Bran refuses any money, any reparations. With Marion and the Baron interpreting, he declares, "My warriors are mine to repay. We Cymry take care of our own."
Powerful statement of self-reliance and honor.
In return, he agrees to swear fealty, pay an annual tribute, and the result.
A tremendous sea wave of acclamation from his people. Elfile has its king back. Peace is achieved. A victory won through both force and, remarkably, diplomacy in a confessional.
So looking back, how does Lawhead connect all this to the legend, to the real world?
He does it brilliantly in the epilogue. Fast forward to 1210, Nottingham. Alan A. Dale's son, Thomas, is singing the Ballad of Bray Ribbon Hood for King John.
So Bran's story has already become legend. Robin Hood sounds a bit like.
Exactly, Robin Hood. The legend focuses on justice, fighting oppressors who rob from them in sore need. It shows how history gets woven into myth, sometimes changing details but keeping the core spirit.
And Lawhead backs up the military aspect too, right? The success of this small band against knights.
Yes, in the author's note. He addresses the high cost of heaven idea again, but also the military reality. He points to historical battles like Agincourt in 1450.
Agincourt, yeah. The famous English victory against the French.
A military miracle, he calls it. Cites figures like 72,000 arrows loosed in the first minute, over 6,000 French dead versus maybe only 100 British. Astounding figures.
Just shows the power of the longbow.
Precisely. He states this law of medieval combat: the side with the most archers usually won, and the corollary.
The side with the most Welsh archers would win.
Right. Because of the highly recognized talent of the Cymry with the longbow and their renowned fighting spirit, it puts Bran's victories into a believable historical context.
It really grounds the seemingly fantastic elements.
And then, just to round it off, Lawhead throws in this interesting little anecdote about discovering evidence of an extinct Ice Age aurochs.
The giant wild cattle. Seems a bit random.
At first glance, maybe, but I think it speaks to his fascination with bringing the ancient, the forgotten, back into the light, like rediscovering lost history or skills.
Ah, I see. Like the power of the longbow or the impact of Tuck's quiet diplomacy. Things that might seem extinct but still hold power.
Exactly. It ties into the whole spirit of discovery, of unearthing insights, which is what we aim for in these deep dives.
So wrapping up, we've journeyed through this amazing story. Cunning, courage, these really unexpected alliances.
We saw how these quote-unquote outlaws reclaimed their home, not just through fighting, but through smart diplomacy, sheer resolve.
And this deep dive really highlights that true power isn't just about might, is it?
No, it's about understanding your enemy, playing to your strengths even if they're unconventional, and knowing when dialogue, when peace is the better strategy.
It also shows how these enduring legends often have roots in gritty, complex historical reality.
Definitely. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
Consider how often knowledge or principles that seem extinct or forgotten, like the longbow's impact or a friar's courage in a confessional, might actually hold keys to challenges we face today.
Interesting. What forgotten insights, what seemingly outdated ideas might you rediscover in your own life, your own field, that could unlock something new?